Good evening, viewers of Voice of Canada. We welcome you to our brand new episode of this week. I have my lovely, charming co-host, Simona Cutone, with me, and she's always very helpful. She's always there with us, and I truly adore her and her guts. Even during such snowy season, she's well in time, sitting with us to do this new episode. Today, we have a wonderful guest, our Honorable MPP from Oakridge, Aurora, Oakridge, Richmond Hill, our one and only Michael Parsa, who is our proud Persian MPP here in Ontario, Canada. And I'm lucky that I've known him since 2010.
Wow.
It has. Good afternoon. Good to see you again, my friend. Great to see you. And Simona, nice to meet you as well. Thank you very much for having me.
It's a happy day for us. You are on interview with us. Well, I would like to request you to introduce yourself formally to our viewers of Voice of Canada.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Michael Parsa. I am the member of Provincial Parliament for the really great riding of Aurora, Oakridge's Richmond Hill. And on top of that, I have the honor and responsibility as the parliamentary assistant to the Minister of Finance, and I am the Deputy House Leader and the Deputy Whip in the Parliament of Ontario.
Great.
Go ahead.
Welcome to our show, Mr. Parsa, again. As you have mentioned that you're in Aurora, Oakridges, would you like to tell us more about what you have done or what kind of major projects you have taken over in that region?
Sure, absolutely. Thanks very much. It's a great question. So, since I had the honor of getting elected back in June of 2018, Simona, I've worked with my colleagues in the region here to be able to provide some of the programs and services on behalf of the provincial government. Because remember, as government, we work with a lot of partners on the ground here, a lot of service providers to be able to serve the people and the residents of the riding. It's a great privilege for me that having had the opportunity now to serve the residents here for the last nearly 4 years, and I can't believe it's almost been 4 years since I got elected. Yes, it's a great privilege. It's an honor for me, Simona. I can't overstate that enough. It's such a privilege for me to be able to have the opportunity to serve the great residents here when they trust you, with having to occupy that seat for 4 years and to represent them. It's the biggest honor of my life, and it's a privilege. And I take that very seriously in everything Parliament. I do my very best to make sure that I represent their best interests and make sure that they're served at the very best.
Great.
MPP Michael Parsa, we won't miss a chance to congratulate you that the Premier of Ontario, Honorable Doug Ford, has nominated you, acclaimed you again for the second term, which is a big success and a feather in your cap. So we wish you. Would you like to throw some light on it? What were the reasons that he says, Mr. Parsa, you get yourself re-elected from the same riding?
Well, again, it's another privilege to be able to go back and have the opportunity to ask for another mandate from the people. Because remember, we're still going to have an election in 4 months, and it's the people who are going to decide whether I'm worthy of their vote. And if I am, I get to represent them. But I'm grateful to the Premier for giving me the opportunity again, and for me to be nominated as the candidate in his riding to be able to represent the party. Extremely grateful for it. I'm looking forward to it.
We are also very proud of you, truly proud of you. And God willing, you will be re-elected, and we will congratulate you, and then we are definitely going to give you trouble and call you to our studios.
It's never trouble.
That is your solemn promise on my show, that after winning, you are going to come in person.
Yes.
I tell you, 100%, I'm looking forward to it, but it won't be a trouble. That's my job. I work for the people, and I'm always
your
available.
Convenience. We are not going to pull you from the job. We will have a mutual convenient date, and we will see you in person.
I look forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
As we were talking about the re-elections, there's only 5 months left for the new elections coming up in June 2022. Would you tell us and the viewers, so what are you taking steps? Are you meeting with the constituents, or what are you doing to get re-elected for the second term? Hello?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, you really do have someone when you get elected from the very first day, you stay involved, and that's the job you have, and you stay involved with your constituents. You hear their concerns sometimes. Their issues that they want to be able to bring to your attention to better serve them. Of course, at this point now, it becomes an opportunity for me to be able to go back and ask for their vote again. So the next 4 months is going to be them rendering their judgment on how I've done in the last 4 years. And again, if I am worthy of their vote, they'll cast their vote for me and they'll send me back to Queen's Park. And I'm really looking forward to it. So part of the process would be, Simona, to continue. I have been, even throughout the pandemic, at times in a safe way, I've contacted constituents. Sometimes physically, I have gone to their doors and I've asked them, if there's anything else I can do to better serve them. And that's part of the process, and to be able to get connected with the constituents.
Inform our viewers of Voice of Canada, which is exclusively produced by Awaz TV Entertainment, that did you move any private bill during your first term? And what was the bill about?
Yeah, that's a good question, actually. I was honored to have 2 of my private members' bills
you
get
got
passed.
a chance to move 2 private member bills.
Wow.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I did. One of them, and and it's important to underline the point that this when it comes to private members' bills, it's usually issues that are near and dear to members' hearts, right? And that's something that's really important to point out. And in my case, both were incredibly important to me. My very first private members' bill that received unanimous support in the House and was passed and it became law was the proclamation of Ontario Day. So we wanted to have, so we now have June 1st of every year in the province of Ontario as Ontario Day, where we get to celebrate, the uniqueness of the province of Ontario within Canada. We live in the greatest country in the world. It's so important to always remember that.
Definitely.
But within this greatest country, there's this very unique and wonderful province of Ontario that's been home to so many of us from different parts of the world that have come here and have made home or has been home to the Indigenous communities for many, many years. And it's a beautiful province, and I think it deserves the recognition of having its own day, at least once a day, for us to all remember the beauties of this province, and it gives us an opportunity to be able to celebrate the province on June 1st. So that was my first private members bill. My second private members bill was, as you know, I'm a very proud Persian Canadian, and I think the contributions of Persian Canadians, to Canada and Ontario in particular, has been immense in all walks of life. I mean, you look at academics, folks in the academia, in business, in law, in all fields, you'll see Persian Canadians have, very influential position. So I wanted to have, I wanted to recognize that. And, one of the things that we always talk about in Canada is that our diversity is our strength. In parts of the world, you both know, it divides people. Not in Canada. We celebrate, our differences. We have little, Greek towns and little Italies and so on, where we get. And we get to celebrate and learn about the beauties and cultures and food and the arts. And I just thought that with Persian Canadians, there's an opportunity there. So I moved a private members bill where the month of March, which, as you know, is the month where Nowruz is celebrated, is now the month of March is also Persian Heritage Month.
Very good. I hope this year, if things are good with the virus, Omicron virus, we may arrange us to celebrate the Nowruz at Queen's Park. That will be a real honor for the Persian community under your command to organize a Nowruz reception, like the others do, like the Coptics do and others do.
We had Nowruz celebrations 2 years in a row. In 2018, we had, in 2019, we had,
awesome. So this year, if you are going to have, do remember us. We would definitely like to come and participate in the Nowruz celebration.
So, Mr. Parsa, I know you talked about some of the projects that you overtook during your term. Tell us more about the ones that you took personally in your hands and the ones that are completed, and is there anything that's in the pipeline and you want to take over your second term?
Yeah, it's actually a great question. So one of the things that I'm very proud of, Simona, when I got elected, the very first thing that I heard from our small businesses, and we all know our small businesses being the backbone of our economy. It's so important to remember that 98% of our businesses are SMEs. These are not just a huge backbone to our economy, but they're also that local light in our local communities. They're the ones that support local sports teams. They're the ones that support communities, and very important to make sure that support is there for them and it's provided in return. And one of the things that I wanted to do is make sure that small businesses have a big voice in government. So initially, upon getting elected, the Premier, I was honored to be parliamentary assistant to the minister responsible for small business and red tape reduction. And one of the things that I noticed early on, Simona, is that over-regulation, burdensome regulation, and red tape was hurting our businesses.
Yeah.
We were no longer a jurisdiction where we were competitive to our job creators. And as a result, when a job creator is at a disadvantage, employees are at a disadvantage. So we wanted to change that trend. We want Ontario to be the engine of the Canadian economy. We want Ontario to be a jurisdiction where job creators will look at Ontario and say, that's where we would like to bring in those good paying jobs for the people of Ontario.
Yes.
So we went out and we ran. We mentioned screamed to the whole world, we are open for business. If you are willing to come in and bring in those good paying jobs to the province of Ontario, we will help you. Anything that would help the people of Ontario, we're going to support you. This is no longer going to be a jurisdiction where it's going to be difficult for you to do business here. So that's something that I'm very proud of. I worked hard in those to reduce red tape and regulation for our businesses. And as a result, now, if you look, Simona, it's about to do business in Ontario now. Businesses save about $7 billion, between $7 and $7.5 billion a year.
Awesome.
It's substantial. Yeah. So that's something that I was quite happy with. And now, with my role as parliamentary assistant to the Ministry of Finance, I get to be involved in budget consultations where we hear directly from Ontarians, individuals, families, organizations, businesses, on what we can do, what else we are able to put forward in the next budget to be able to help us, especially in the context of having now dealt with the COVID pandemic. So, that's something that I'm really looking forward to it. A lot of work has been done, but to your point, Simona, I'm hoping that a second mandate from the people will help us deliver, because a lot of what we've had to do now has been, remember, with the COVID during a pandemic. So we have had to put all our projects, the very first thing that we've done is prioritize people's health and well-being. And that's just been our number one priority. So we're looking forward to coming out of this pandemic stronger than ever, making sure Ontario, that light is shining bright, and for people to know that this is once again a jurisdiction for you to come and create jobs.
Yeah.
Thank you. We will be taking a short break, and we'll be back with you with our Honorable Michael Parsa, our honored guest of this evening. Thank you.
Zoc. Now it's fully renovated. Live catering, barbecue, tandoor, जलेबियाँ और फ्रेश नान. तकरीब आपके घर में हो या घर से बाहर, Zoc is providing full service now, and Zoc has opened a new banquet hall, garden event center. आपका Zoc देखकर लोग कहेंगे, क्या Zoc है आपका? Call right now 905-625-7786. Zoc वालों के लिए.
इस रमजान मुबारक में प्रोग्राम ज़ेरो ज़बर, मगर एक नए अंदाज में, एक बहुत ही ग्रैंड और शानदार बच्चों के लिए इस्लामिक क्विज.
सवालों जवाब की तैयारी हो गई. कुरान पाक में कितनी आयत है? 6366. आपका जवाब दुरुस्त है.
इन सब की तैयारी तो हो गई, तो क्या आप भी तैयार हैं? ये जानने के लिए कि कौन होता है ज़ेर और कौन होता है ज़बर,
सिर्फ आवाज एंटरटेनमेंट पर. सियासत से तिजारत तक,
सबसे पहले घबराना नहीं.
तालीम से मईशत तक,
आपके जेब पे डाका डालना जानते हैं.
सेहत से सनत तक,
तो चोर घर में आ चुका है जनाब स्पीकर.
हुकूमती ऐवानों से चाय खानों तक कोई नहीं बच पाएगा तकरार से। कौन, कब, कैसे, क्यों जैसे सवाल बनते हैं मौजू प्रोग्राम तकरार में। देखते रहिए तकरार कनाडा से बराह रास्त समीना जबीन के साथ मंडे टू फ्राइडे सिर्फ आवाज एंटरटेनमेंट पर।
Sacred Hand Canada is helping communities more than a decade.
Here is our food bank, one of the most important aspects of our organization. Here is where we provide our clients with the highest quality produce, meat, and dairy products to suit their needs.
Here at Sacred Hand Canada, we provide more than 125 hot meals per day to individuals who cannot afford it. This includes seniors, international students, and people in general who cannot cook for themselves.
Here at Sacred Hand Canada, we provide free clothing and household items to newcomers, refugees, and those in need. This is our way of helping the environment by recycling, reusing, and giving back to the community.
Here at Sacred Hand Canada, we believe every child deserves an education. This is why we started the free tutoring program from kindergarten to grade 8.
So this is the community room. This is a room where we run all of our programs here at Sacred Hand Canada. They can use this room as an escape to escape from whatever they're dealing with.
So here at Sacred Hand Canada, we provide deliveries for our clients. This is an extension of our food bank for our clients who are unable to have transportation to come to our office.
Your generous donation will help us to reach many more to support for the food, shelters, and medical. Please donate generously. Visit our location, 5004 Timberley Boulevard, Unit 2629. You can reach us by calling 905-624-0333. If you have any need or any help, do not hesitate to contact us. We'll be more than happy to help you.
The team of two, just for you.
Ahmed and Shala Jafri, the team of two just for you, bringing you the largest Eid festival April 16th and 17th at Mississauga Convention Center from April 22nd every day till Chandrat at Maple Banquet Hall, Mississauga from 1 p.m. till midnight.
Fashion show, food, music, variety of stalls. Free admission and parking. Call Shella at 647-273-2393.
Events by teamof2.com.
इस रमजान आवाज एंटरटेनमेंट आपके लिए लेकर आया है शानदार रमजान ट्रांसमिशन। देखिए ज़ेरो ज़बर इफ्तार से पहले और ए ईमान वालों इफ्तार के बाद, अंधेरे से उजाले की तरफ सहरी से पहले, और आए नमाज सीखें सहरी के बाद। तो मनाएं रमजान हमारे साथ सिर्फ और सिर्फ आवाज एंटरटेनमेंट पर। This Ramadan transmission is brought to you by Galito's Chicken.
डिक्सी इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स और अप्लायंसेस पिछले 16 सालों से खरीदारों की खिदमत कर रहे हैं। हम लगातार 4 सालों से खरीदारों की पहली पसंद बने रहने का अवार्ड हासिल कर चुके हैं। हम किचनर्स, बॉश, वर्लपूल, एलजी, सैमसंग और जनरल इलेक्ट्रिक के ऑथराइज्ड डीलर हैं। 5 स्टार खिदमत का लुत्फ लें। हम आप सभी को टीवी सबसे ज्यादा रियायती दामों पर देने की गारंटी देते हैं। www.dixieelectronics.ca हमारी वेबसाइट पर जाएं या अभी कॉल करें 905-625-5900। सभी बहुत ही मुनासिब कीमत पर दस्तयाब हैं जो आप बाआसानी से ले सकते हैं। At Dixie, we sell quality and deliver confidence.
कॉर्पोरेट इवेंट्स हो या शादी की तकरीब, बर्थडे एनिवर्सरीज हो या हो बेबी शावर, और अगर आप चाहते हैं स्टूडियो सेटअप, रेंटल बैकड्रॉप्स, हार गजरे या पार्टीज के लिए फ्रेश फ्लावर अरेंजमेंट, देन कॉल आफिया खान at 416-628-7849. Essence Event Deco, creative, elegant and unique.
Welcome back, viewers of Voice of Canada. After a short break, we have a wonderful guest, MPP Michael Parsa from Oakridge, Richmond Hill. He's a Persian MPP at Queen's Park. Welcome back in our show. MPP Michael Parsa, tell our viewers, what are the main demographics of your riding? Give us approximate figures.
Yeah, so I'm very lucky. I'm in one of the more diverse ridings. I can tell you, that's again the beauty of living in Canada.
That's our diversity strength.
it really is our strength, no doubt about that. And we have the beauty. Remember, with other cultures, we have wonderful restaurants here, a lot of variety for us to choose from. But we've got, people from all corners, pretty much all corners of the world here who are now reside in this area. And I'm one of the few lucky members. Remember that I get to represent part of the city of Richmond Hill and part of the town of Aurora. So I'm blessed on that front. But we've got a fairly sizable community from Persian Canadians.
Persian communities there. I was about to say that so many Persians are settled in your riding.
Yes, they are. There is very sizable community, Persian Canadians that live here in this riding. Many from the Chinese community that live in this riding, from Korean Canadians that live here as well. I mean, there's just so many. Like I said, it's just a very diverse riding, and I'm just so blessed to be a part of it.
It's a rich city. Richmond Hill is a rich city.
I tell you, we just rich in so many fronts because we have some of the best people here. We've got wonderful people here, so we're rich and blessed as far as its people, no doubt about
The
that.
borderline of Markham also, the great city.
Yes, Markham is just to the west of us. That's correct. Yes,
definitely.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So the Honorable Premier of Ontario, along with his 74, 76 MPPs during the COVID times, you guys played a very vital role in how to manage everything, kinds of finances and people and businesses. Tell us more about what role did you play during the pandemic and while everything was going on. And I know now vaccine is also mandate. So in your riding, how many people have been vaccinated? Would you have some more data or like to talk about it, please?
Yeah, it's actually a really good question. Look, when this COVID hit, really early on, the province, the premier, made a commitment to the people of Ontario. He said that we were going to do whatever it takes to be able to protect the health and well-being of every Ontarian. And I was so honored to be a member of his team, having a leader of his caliber, who's so caring, but such a strong leader, to be able to make difficult decisions during a very difficult chapter. Remember, we never had a playbook to go by, right? This was a long, and I'm very proud to be a member of his team. And look, there was a lot of decisions, a lot of difficult decisions that had to be made. But we said all along that we were going to rely on the advice of our health professionals. These are the medical professionals who are trained to give us the very best advice. In the end, the buck stops with us. Absolutely, we're the ones who people elected to make a decision. But when you're dealing with a global pandemic, the right people to listen to are the medical professionals. And we did. We sought their advice, and we did our very best to make sure we protect people. One of the best way still, and this is something that I get the opportunity to be able to share with Ontarians as much as possible, is vaccines are our best way to protect ourselves from this virus. And the best way is to go and get your vaccine, get your second shot, get the booster shot, and get yourself protected, and get your family and your community and your neighbors protected as well. And we're 100%, because it's very important. It's not just you're protecting the elderly around you, your parents and your grandparents and your neighbors. So it's very vital for all Ontarians, since we're blessed to live in a country where we have the options and we have vaccines available to us. And in this case here, we're lucky also to be a leading jurisdiction in Canada. In Ontario, we have vaccinated more than anyone. We have vaccinated more Ontarians than anyone, any other province in the country. And we are beyond thankful to the people of Ontario who rolled up their sleeves and got the vaccine. And as a result, we're about almost 90% of the people are fully vaccinated. And that's important. That came as a result of Ontarians working with us to ensure that we can fight. It was, but it was an achievement that was as a result of all Ontarians coming together and working together to make sure that we can fight this virus and put it behind us once and for all.
MPP Michael Parsa, as you are also the looking after the Minister of Finance, with the provincial finance minister. Will you throw some light? What role you play?
It's a good question. Right now, I have the honor of obviously serving as parliamentary assistant to the Minister of Finance. And both the Minister and myself, we have been conducting budget consultations across the province to be able to hear directly from Ontarians on their priorities and what should be in the 2022 budget that's coming out by the end of March of this year. And we are consulting with all Ontarians, of course, virtually now, as you can imagine. We cannot do it in person. So we've had, many consultations with Ontarians, again, with individuals and families, organizations and businesses on what we can do, on what should be reflected in the 2022 budget. Because we know that, they know best, and every decision that we make has a direct impact on the people. So we want to hear from them. They're the experts, and that's what we've been doing.
That was actually my next question about the budget. Would you like to, I hope the budget is a little bit more favorable and there are no more additional taxes because of COVID added. Would you like to talk a little bit more about it?
Hope you're given a friendly budget. Ontario's friendly budget, I would say.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, this budget, we've gone through 2 years, very difficult and challenging time. It's been hard on everyone. You think about the effects on our businesses, Simona, and what they have been able to endure in the last 2 years. It's been very challenging. What we want to do is, we're very clear. We want to make life more affordable. We want to make life a lot easier for Ontarians. We will make any decision that's going to make life difficult for Ontarians. So at every decision that we make, it's going to revolve around, will it make life more easier for Ontarians? That's the lens, and every single idea that we will get, every submission that has been submitted already to our ministry, we will look at, we will have it reflect on all the submissions and make a decision and make sure this budget is rendered so that it helps our economy, it helps the people, especially after we start putting this pandemic behind us. Yeah. Because as I said, we've gone through a very challenging chapter. It's been difficult for everyone. We want to make sure that life is a lot easier and simpler for people.
Yes.
MPP Michael Parsa, the Persian community of Ontario and Canada are truly very, very proud of you, and we feel very secure that we have our man at Queen's Park. So, and you're playing a very vital role for us, though I don't belong to your riding, but still, as and when I want to feel secure, I remember you. So what would you say? We have got a very strong emotional bonds, like community bonds, and we have same blood of Aryan blood. Do you agree to that?
Well, I tell you, 100%. Thank you. It's been great working with you in the past. I have a great deal of respect for the work that you have done. And I tell you, there is no better. I mean, I'm just honored. I just don't. It's hard to sometimes describe the feeling. My family and I moved to Canada when I was quite young, and if you look at the honor that I have now to represent the people as a representative in the Parliament of Ontario, I mean, that's why we live. That's why I always take this opportunity to talk about it, because it needs to be discussed. We live in the greatest country in the world that allows all.
Definitely, there's no doubt.
People to live and to dream, and I've had that. For the 4 years that people of this riding have given me this opportunity, I'm beyond honored and grateful, and looking forward to hopefully having another mandate.
Great.
13.
Tell us more about what other working communities you are a part or a member of at Queen's Park, and what role do you play in it?
So other than, as obviously my primary role as a member of provincial parliament for the residents, we as members also have the opportunity to serve on committees as well. So I am honored to be on 2 standing committees, one standing committee on public accounts, and the other standing committee on estimates. And both are, as you can imagine, are around fiscal management of the province, and quite honored to be on those two committees as well. We do, that committees are comprised of members from all political parties. So you would have members from government, members from the official opposition, and even we have members of the independent parties right now represented in committee. Wow. And a lot of good work is done in committee. We work together with one another on bills, and to be able to really get strengthen the bill before it's sent back to the legislature for final reading.
It's a very good coordination at Queen's Park.
Yes.
Continue, Ford.
Yes. Like we're again coming back to the budget, as you see nowadays, everything is skyrocketing, including the gas prices. Especially, I would say the house market is really high rise. Like not first-time home buyers, they cannot really afford the houses at all. Like even I can imagine, like it will be so hard for me to even think of buying a house. Is there something you have in the pipeline or some discussions that you will be having it for the first-time buyers, that they can either the interest rate or some like
low-cost housing scheme is required in Ontario?
Yes.
That is the basic question.
Absolutely right. I think one of the important distinctions here is that we're looking at, when you're talking about homes that are, people often talk about affordable housing.
Yes.
But we also have to look at houses that are affordable, attainable housing for people who are looking to buy a home and to live in a home. It's quite important. I tell you, when here in Ontario, we are in a housing crisis. There is no doubt about that. We are, part of you sometimes have to look at what has caused this. And I think when you look at the amount of the demand outweighs right now the supply, and that's the issue right now. We don't have as much supply, and there is a large demand for homes. Through immigration and a growing population here in the country.
Yes.
We need to have more supply. We need to make sure that homes are built. We need to make sure homes are built faster. We need to make sure that all types of homes are built, at all price level. Rental homes for people who are still looking to rent. It's very difficult to find a place to live in all parts of Ontario, Simona. It isn't just here in Toronto or the GTA. It's all across. I mean, this is an issue that's been difficult for everyone. But this is one of the reasons the Premier and the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing have made this a top agenda for us to work with municipalities to ensure that we have programs in place where we can streamline the process of building homes faster and make sure that those homes are available to people quicker and hopefully at various price ranges for people to be able to move into their homes. Everyone should have the right to purchase or to live in a home that they desire.
Hospitals are overwhelmed in many all over Ontario. What is the situation in the region of York?
I tell you, when it comes to the province, when it comes to our hospitals, and that's something that I guess when you look at, this is some of the lessons that we're going to have to learn from this COVID-19, the pandemic. The fact that the previous government did not make the required investments in our hospitals, and we didn't have enough capacity in hospitals. They didn't create long-term care beds. They had 611 long-term care beds created, in 7 years. That's just not enough. In my riding alone, we're going to have more long-term care beds. And when it comes to hospitals, we have in the 2021-2022 budget, we're spending $1.8 billion more on our hospitals to be able to have more capacity, to be able to serve more Ontarians.
Wow.
Since the global pandemic, we have invested $5.1 billion more on our hospitals to make sure Ontarians have the proper service that they deserve and they rely on. That's the role of government. You got to make sure that those vital services that the people are relying on are there for them when they need it.
Your region is really lucky to have a brand new hospital which just opened few months ago in Vaughan.
Yes.
And we in Mississauga and other parts of the West are still awaiting for a brand new hospital. But the Premier has promised us that soon we will be having a new hospital, the third one in Mississauga.
Well, listen, we need to build more hospitals. We need to build more schools. We need to make sure we invest in infrastructure that's so important to all of us, to all Ontarians.
Yeah.
We need to make sure, I mean, yes, we're very lucky to have the first net new hospital in the province created in the last 30 years. I was so excited to hear about the new hospital being built in Brampton for the Peel region.
Yeah.
And we need more. We need to make sure that as the population increases, as we have more people coming to our region, we need to make sure that the services like hospitals and schools and all these vital services are provided and are available for the people of Ontario. They expect nothing less, and they deserve nothing less.
Yes.
Come on, go ahead.
How about the food banks, Mr.
In your
Parson,
region.
in your region? Are they around like Peel region here or?
We are really stressed.
Yes.
And that's the thing, and that's what the global this pandemic has done. It's been and we talked about this. It's been a very difficult chapter, and it's hit people hard. And I personally have worked very closely with both our food banks here in the city of Richmond Hill and the town of Aurora, to make sure that really no Ontarian is ever in need of those basic essentials is left without it. We need to make sure that is a moral obligation, I think, on all of us, every single one of us, to make sure that Ontarians, we live in one of the richest countries in the world. Yes. We live in we're lucky to live in such a wonderful
country in the world, I would say. 100%.
With that comes responsibilities of making sure that those who need our support have it. And that is something, the onus is on all of us to make sure that certainly as government, but as a community, to make sure that all Ontarians who need our support, especially those basic essentials, have it when they need it.
Yes.
Michael Parsa, just tell our viewers, is our government doing anything to lower the auto insurance, which is the major demand of our people? We are paying very heavy auto insurance as compared to other provinces.
Yeah, no, it's a very valid point. And look, we talked about the cost of living in the province of Ontario. In every way, shape, or form, cost of living has gone up, and we need to make sure that gets addressed. I can tell you, I'm not sure if you know, but FSRA announced that about over $1 billion of saving was provided to the people who use auto insurance in the province of Ontario, and more needs to be done. We need to make sure that there's competition. We need to make sure that people have the opportunity to shop around and have better rates made available to them. As the cost of living goes up in every area, more and more Ontarians are going to look for relief, and we need to make sure that that cost of living in general, whether it's auto insurance, whether it's cost of groceries, everything is
going high, skyrocketed.
Everything.
It is. We need to make sure that gets addressed, because in the end, that's something that's what makes us so great here, is that all Ontarians are always dependent on the services that are provided, and we need to make sure the cost of living stays within reach for everyone, so that everyone gets to live their lives as they wish.
Yes.
As due to paucity of time, MPP Michael Parsa, we will have to cut short our interview this evening, but we promise you we will be getting you back soon after June, once you win and re-elected to the second term. Would you like to give some concluding remarks for controlling the inflation in our province, which is nearly 5%?
Look, we talked about it. Cost of living is absolutely.
But anything the provincial government is doing to reduce the inflation?
I got to tell you, some of the decisions, when you look at supply and demand, right? We look at supply chain here, will all have an effect on prices and end users, which is the general public. So we need to make sure that we get our economy going again. We need to make sure that we get competition going again. We need to make sure that people, you and I both know that when there's competition, when we have goods flowing again, there will be competition for people's choice, and that needs to happen. That's why it's so important for us to be able to all get vaccinated, and so that we can get back to our normal life, so that we can open up things, so that we can get back to a normal life and be able to enjoy our lives again. And part of that is going to include making sure that the cost of living goes down through decision making, and I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you, Mr. Michael Parsa, for coming and giving us your valued time in spite of the oncoming budget. Hope to see you again. Stay well, stay blessed. God bless you. Lord bless Canada.